Hi, eighth grade. Mrs. Spalding here. Welcome to your first day of practice remote learning. So, today I'm just going to do a quick mini lesson on the mini memoirs. They are due tomorrow, their final drafts are due tomorrow. So, the first thing we're going to go over today is how to write a good title. So, I know a lot of you already have titles on your writing, but we're just going to go over how to write a good title if you're not satisfied with yours currently. So, the biggest advice I can give you in trying to write a convincing title is write your paper first and then your title last. Again, I know a lot of you already have titles. That's okay. You can keep those or you can change them. Just know that the title is worth some points on your essay. So, make sure when you're writing your title to also use emotions and talk about the main idea. So, if the focus of your paper is how you got burned making avocado toast, then maybe don't say something in your title about, last night I saw this movie and it was great. Make sure your title really does relate to what happens in the story, but maybe don't make it so clear that you say, I broke my arm, if your story talks about breaking your arm. Try and give the reader something that they want to read about, but maybe not something that gives them the whole idea right away. So those are just some tips about creating a good title. So I've seen quite a few of your papers so far, and some of you have really great titles. Some of you have pretty common titles that I think we could work on. Some of you have no title. So I think this is a good thing to work on while you're working today on your final drafts. The next thing I want to focus on is how to focus on one emotion. So, on our mini memoir outline, we did talk about all of the emotions associated with the memory. However, I really think some of us need to focus on one or maybe two specific emotions because emotions are one of the main focuses of our mini memoirs. Because to make a memoir, instead of writing an autobiography, it needs to hone in on one emotion. So choose an emotion that best can that the reader can identify with best and that you can identify with best. If the emotion during the story was something sad or something scary, but now it's funny, maybe don't play so much on the funny part until the end, but maybe play on the seriousness and use more serious sounding adjectives and sensory words. So for my example, I used the emotion of jealousy, and now I'm only writing in one sentence. I'm not writing the entire paper, but just to give you an example, if I was going to hone in and focus on the emotion of jealousy, I might write something more like, with my arms crossed across my chest, I angrily stomped across the room, throwing my ponytail back and forth. Now that gives you an emotion, but it also gives you the sensory words to focus on as well. It talks a lot about visual, about touch, about sight. A lot of emotions are going into that one sentence. So try to think about that when you're playing with your emotions in your memoir. Just a few reminders that memoir final drafts are due tomorrow, Wednesday, so check the rubric for more details, but just a brief overview. The memoir does need to be 500 words or more. To check that, if you're writing on a Google Doc, highlight the whole thing and click on the Tools tab. I think it's the second or third thing down. It says word count. I don't want to make you count all of the words. The next thing to remember for your rubric is honing in those emotions, like I talked about in this little mini lesson. Make sure you're really focusing in on the emotions of the paper. And the last thing is those sensory words. On that paper where I had you use the colored pencils, those are all of the sensory words. That paper does need to be included when you turn in your final memoir. And just really focus on those today. So those are the three things to focus on and make sure your final drafts are ready to go for tomorrow. Thanks, guys.